Om. Sahana vavatu Sahanau bhunaktu sahaviryam karavavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May the Lord protect us. May He nourish us. May we acquire the capacity to study and understand the scriptures. May our study be brilliant and may we not cavil at each other. Om, peace, peace, peace unto us all. Dear brothers and sisters, loving Sai Ram to all of you. We welcome all of you for the satsang of the Sat Sai Baba Center of Arcadia. So we are meeting in person as well as on Zoom. But I heard there are more people are participating on Zoom, so people have got used to Zoom. It's okay, it is good. So because some people they were telling they have long distance to drive, and this makes it very convenient. Some people are even joining out of state and out of in the Northern California and different parts. So it is nice that we have main thing is sharing Swami's love and message. That is the whole purpose. So we'll continue our study circle on Gita Vahini. So we are going to start people who have the hard copy. So the Gita Vahini on page 11, and starting on the last paragraph. And in the online version we have, that will be page 12. So starting about Arjuna had teardrops falling down. So just briefly for the sake of continuity, what we discussed last week. So two main points. One is the Lord, two things is needed. One is remembering Him constantly, worship Him. So that is why those two shlokas, I hope all of you try to remember, at least know the chapter 18, Sloka 65, and chapter 18, Sloka 66. First one is Manmana Bhava Mad Bhakta, where we says, think about me, worship me, prostrate to me, and contemplate on me, and you will merge with me. Because everybody, what do we want? Merge in God. So he gives the solution. Manmana Bhava Mad Bhakta, have love for me, Majjaji Mam, Namaskuru, do that, and you will get. And second thing is, he says, how do you get moksha? And he says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Braja. Surrender to me only, not to two people. So just like Jesus said, you can't serve two masters, God and Mammon. So you cannot, and Swami said, mine is not a double seat sofa, single seat sofa. Give importance to God, number one priority in life. Others you take care like a trustee. So you have to, as like Sri Ramakrishna said, the housefly, what do? They go on nice dishes sometimes, and they go on garbage sometimes. Because that is where some devotees, they have the satsang sometimes, and they have fun and distracted sense pleasures. That won't be good. Then they are called the part-time devotees, but they want full-time benefits. It can't happen. So full-time devotees are like honeybees. They want, honeybee wants only honey. It will starve to death. It won't go to the field. Similarly, the full-time devotees, they think about God. They talk about Him. They want to listen about Him. They want to serve Him. So all their mind is occupied with God. That is the thing. Then you are full-time. So that is the thing Baba is talking about when you say how to be Mamekam Sharam Raja. Surrender to me alone. This surrender, Swami said before, there are two kinds of surrender. Marjala Kishora, Markata Kishora. That means Markata is what? Monkey. Kishora is baby. Like monkey and its baby. So what happens whenever monkey you saw, when it's going, this little baby will be there, it holds onto the monkey's chest so that it doesn't fall. Okay. So this is monkey holds onto that. So monkey, when it's jumping, what happens? If it properly doesn't hold, it will fall. So that is the kind of surrender. It is dangerous. It is okay to hold on, but you are not. Whereas Marjala Kishora, monkey and it kitten, so he says that is better. Where monkey holds onto the little babies in its mouth, wherever it goes goes there. It's what all says mew mew, like Sri Ramakrishna said. It doesn't matter. So just it is confidence in his mother that everything will be all right. So this is the two kinds of who should have complete surrender only to God. That is the Marjala Kishora. So, and also last week we talked about Arjuna who came there to fight. So, and Lord Krishna put the chariot in between the two sides, and then he looks at his grandparents, his cousins, his Guru Drona, get depressed, drops down the bow and the arrow, and he has full of tears and he gets discouraged, depressed, anxious, like a lot of us in life. When you have to have some challenges, fights, some people face the life is challenge, meet it. But some people get depressed, dejected, anxious, and yet fearful. And those are the things. But some people even worse, they get to drugs, they get to alcohol, and even recently I heard people can commit even suicide. So that's extreme. But when you have God on your side, you meet the challenges with courage, strength, and determination. That is the whole purpose. Spirituality gives you that courage and strength. You don't care what happens in the world. So just everything is God's gift, passing clouds, and you take the challenges. So that is what it is. But Arjuna, even though he was such a great hero, he had so much love for Lord Krishna, at the time he was taken over by moha. So that is the thing. So that is what last time two words we used. Purva Mimamsa, Uttara Mimamsa. Anybody remembers what we said? What is Purva Mimamsa? Purva Mimamsa is this Arjuna is doing, that is given by sage Jaimini. Jaimini, he said, that is about Karma Kanda. In Vedas, there is Karma Kanda, doing yajnas, doing yagas, singing the praise Lord. These are all in the field of duality. That is why it is good up to a point. But finally, what takes you to real knowledge and liberation is only Uttara Mimamsa, which is the Upanishadic knowledge, Vedantic knowledge, where you realize that only reality is Atman or Brahman. So this Arjuna, Swami was talking about here, he was caught still in Purvamimamsa. Why my grandparents, my guru, my this thing. So that is all moha. That is what, it is not anything, it is moha. So that is where we said we need to get rid of that moha. So we are going to start now on the page 10 starting, but Arjuna had teardrops. So you start on page 11, and in the online version is page 12.
But Arjuna had teardrops falling down his cheeks. There were whirlpools in his eyes. Even the Lord could not bear the sight. He could not remain silent. He felt the pulse beat of Arjuna and diagnosed the malady. He knew in a trice that the malady of moha, the delusion caused by false evaluation, had penetrated his three bodies, the gross, the subtle, and the causal. The pity that enveloped Arjuna was not genuine. He saw, for genuine pity will be endowed with Daivi Sampat, divine elevating impulses and motives. It will not disregard the orders of the Lord. It was really egoism under the veil of pity. So the Lord decided to cure him of that weakness. Kripaya Vishtam, the Gita says, Arjuna was helpless, overwhelmed by pity, and that had to be cured. Just as a spirit entering a person has to be exorcised, Arjuna has to be freed from fear and cowardice. For he who has the Lord by his side need entertain no fear. What can any bhut, spirit, do to one who is the Lord of all the five bhutas, elements? Vaidyo Narayano Hari. The Lord is the supreme doctor. Narayana was the doctor Arjuna needed and got. Stop here. The very important thing is again, we usually from a human perspective and you see what Arjuna is doing. He's doing right thing, he's trying for not killing people because the Lord said that, but he doesn't want to fight. So it's all good things. We feel as a human, we sometimes think like that. But in this case, it is different. It's the Lord's command. It's dharma that is very important, and the Lord advised him. So he needs to obey the command. That's what is correct thing to do. And that's what here Swami is also talking about. And the divine doctor is here, and he will take care of it and cure him from that bhavarog, the disease, the delusion that Arjuna has got now. Thank you. Sai Ram.
Yeah, the main thing is they said what he had is sympathy. He doesn't want to kill people. He's killing people. Good, it's not good. So what he's doing is right. He doesn't want to kill. But the motive is the behind, because if there is somebody else who was standing there, many other his enemies, he would not think twice. He would have smashed them in a moment. He would have killed thousands of people just with his Gandiva, just like that. But here is not, that's not real. That's what it says. It's not a genuine daya, genuine sympathy. It is sympathy because of his people, because it is him. If it is somebody else, he would have killed them just like without any hesitation. Because it is his people, he is hesitating to do that. That is why in the first sloka of Gita itself, Dharma Kshetriya Mama Ka, with the Dhritarashtra says, my people. So its whole secret of this moha is my and thine. That is why Sri Ramakrishna said, when you try to do any good service to people, if you do it with your own family, your own friends, people you know, that is called Maya. But you do for people without anything, people in need, you go on the base of need, anybody you want, without any connection, that is called Daya. So this man here, he is not in Maya, he is in Moha because of the attachment to his friends and relatives and grandparents and things. So then that will give him bondage. So that is one point. Second is, when the Lord says, God says, kill, you should not hesitate, because Lord's order is important. When God says divine command is ultimate. That's why you need people who read the Shri Sachirita, you can see Shri Baba tests one person, go and kill this goat. Everybody hesitates, oh, killing. But one man is a Brahmin. Without hesitation, he takes a sword to kill. Hey, you are a Brahmin, how can you kill? He says, Lord, I don't know, Swami, Baba, whatever word you say, I will do it. It doesn't matter, no sin. Because when you follow God's order implicitly, it looks outside a sin, but it's not, because following God's command is the highest priority. That's why Lord Krishna says later in Gita, Atvasipa imam lokan na hanti na nibhadyati. You may kill the whole world, just not just these people. Atvasipa imam lokan, all the whole world you can eliminate. But you are na hanti na nibhati. You are not bound, because even one person you kill will be in hell forever. Whereas here you can kill the whole world. He says it is equal to not killing, and you are not bound, because you are following Lord's command. You are instrument of God. When you are instrument of God, it doesn't bind you. Third thing is whether you are doing it for dharma, dharma. You are fighting adharma. Even though Bhishma was great, Drona is great, but they are on the side of adharma. So even for us in life, it is not somebody whom we like, our friends, family. If they are on the wrong side, it doesn't matter. We don't support them. But the CM people, you may not even like them, but on the dharmic side, you support. So what is important is, number one, we are following God's command, and God's command is very clear. And second is whether on the side of dharma. So here he was trying to justify that because he doesn't have Daivi Sampatti. Daivi Sampatti means divine qualities. There is a chapter in Gita, you read that. This Daiva Sura Sampad Vibhaga Yogam, a chapter where he talks who is God. We talked about it. Who is demon? Right? We talked about it. Anybody who has noble qualities, Abhayam, Sattva Samshuddhi, the people who have got fearlessness and then calm, serene, so they have got love, tranquility, all those people are divine. Anybody who we talked about the Asura, Dambho, Dharpo, Abhamanascha, Krodha, Parushyameva, people who are ostentatious, who are proud, and have a lot of anger, too much attachment, ignorance. All these people are demonic. So we can ourselves see sometimes we may become demonic, sometimes we may become divine qualities. So we should try to see that more and more we manifest the divine qualities. And Lord Krishna is telling, hey, you are not doing this divine quality because you have that fear. Because when you have God with you, there should not be fear. That is why Swami says, double abhayastha. Why fear when I am here? The minute we have fear, Swami says, is equal to no faith in God. The minute we have fear, no faith in God. So real proof of faith in God is complete fearless. You don't worry about anything because Lord is on our side. That is the sign of real faith and love for God. And he is telling the Lord Krishna himself come as a supreme doctor to cure this Arjuna of this disease. It is a disease, he is telling, that not that physically he has any disease, but disease of confusion, moha. He has got moha and fear. So the Lord himself, God himself, came to cure him. That is why he was telling him, he's possessed, like you talk about people are possessed of spirits, bhutas. Swami used to actually exercise when he was a young boy. So many people, they used to bring him. They used to think him is Bhutavaidya. Anybody who is possessed of spirit, they used to bring. And Swami used to drive away. Then he stopped after a while. Otherwise, too many people were coming for that. So here, he says, you are possessed of these wrong things, but you believe in Lord who is element, five bhutas, who is master of all the five bhutas. You don't need to worry about it. The Swami, God is master of five bhutas. I think I shared this before when we were there in Swami in the interview room. My father said, Swami, you don't eat at all, and you are so skinny. So why then he said, made a comment, do you derive energy from the air, five elements? Because there are people in Himalayas, they are called Vayubhachika, they derive energy from the air element. Swami said, no, five elements derive energy from me. Only God can tell that. So he is the Panchabhuta master. So that is what it is. So that is what the main thing is. We follow the Lord's command implicitly, be on the side of dharma, and just be fearless. And Don't work anything with the real detachment. Anybody has any comments or questions? Now we have people here. We can.
There is one question.
Oh, you have a question? You can read that question, or you. Yeah, I can repeat that question. You read it. Nilesh can read it. Okay.
Saram, are you able to hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So the question is, the point of killing uh, the whole world on the Lord's command. The suicide bombers we hear of are convinced that they are following God's command and are on the side of Dharma. Their personal life is indeed very frugal and full of devotion to their God. Where is the disconnect or mistake in their thinking?
Because the very fact, so if you are really, yeah, so the question, yeah, for the sake of others, I don't know. People on Zoom, are they able to hear the question? They probably are able to, right? Anyway, for people here, he says, so because Lord Krishna says you can kill the whole worlds, but you are not bound by the consequences, no bondage, no sin. So the question is, that is why this is called, sometimes people can get confused and doubt. So people, suicide bombers, or people, this jihad, the people, they massively, they go and blow up the planes, go and bomb the places in the name of God. So is it really justified? They think it is God. Thinking it is from the God versus it is really from God is different. So it's really God's instruction is those people, the very nature. That is why first thing is, do they have Daivi Sampatti or Asura Sampatti? If you have Daivi Sampatti, that means they are very tranquil, serene, calm, they have got loving nature. Then God speaks to them. People who are demons, demonic, they have got hatred, they have got anger. You can see them. They have hatred and anger. The very fact they disqualify, God will never use that instruments. So that is, we should remember. The instrument God uses is only love, the instrument of love. So anybody who is not an instrument of love, then it is not God's command. It is their own ego which is talking. That's why you need to be careful. Some people think, oh, God is speaking to me. It is their ego who is speaking, or the real conscience. Real conscience speaks only we are tranquil in deep contemplation in the silence. And the very fact, you can see those people, how they are cruel, they can kill little children. God doesn't tell you to do that. And people who are innocent. So that is the mistaken notion. That is not completely, that is the ego which is driving, not the Lord which is driving. So as Sri Ramakrishna said, an expert dancer doesn't take a wrong step. So real people who are love God, they will never hurt anybody. That is the basic philosophy. Here, just to drive the home the point, Lord Krishna is telling, it doesn't bind you. So it's not that you go and kill everybody in the world. So you would not do it. Here, you're killing people who are on the adharmic side. So, but you can see by their actions, you can judge people by their actions, not what they say, and how so many innocent people are hurt. So that is the, I would say, the best answer I can give. Anybody else unless has any different input on that? Okay, we'll continue. Well, almost time. Yeah, with just one paragraph, maybe we can continue.
How lucky was Arjuna? Even from the depths of grief, joy will swell. Until the 11th sloka of the second chapter, it is the story of the despondency of Arjuna, the effect of the possession. This is why the first step in the cure is the exposition of Sankhya Yoga, the path of knowledge, jnana. The Amrutopadesha, immortality bestowing teaching of Krishna begins from this 11th sloka. In fact, the Bhagavad Gita starts from this point. Up to this point, it is the description of Arjuna's delusion, born of ignorance and dullness of intellect. Krishna, acting the role of witness, allows the despondency to deepen and darken. When at last Arjuna threw down his bow and refused to fight, when he confessed that he had lost all sense of right and wrong, when he prayed that Krishna should teach him the way that will solve his problems best, then Krishna came forward and said, Arjuna, how could this miserable shade of cowardice overtake you now, when you have been clear and bright all along? This is quite unbecoming to the hero you are. The word Arjuna means pure, unblemished character. Why then this grief? The battle is imminent. The clouds of war have gathered and are thundering. The foes in front are awaiting the moment when they could jump into the fray. They have heaped countless injustices and cruelties on you, and now they are ready to grab the land that must come to you as of right. You have so far borne all the agony they have poured over you without stirring even an iota away from truth. You have fulfilled all the conditions they imposed, and you have passed through the years they prescribed for your exile. Your attempts to effect a compromise were futile. You could not avoid the clash of arms. We have yielded as much as we could. Now, war is the only method by which the eyes of the evil minded Duryodhana can be opened to his own iniquity. Actually, the answer Swami has given to the last question is here, right here, because even if Arjuna doesn't want to fight and not to kill, they are going to kill all these people here. They are ready to be there to kill them. So, in a way, it is to protect so many people, he has to take the bow and fight. So that is another thing. Again, Dr. Reddy has very clearly said, is the guru is very important. The guru who you have. So Lord Krishna is the guru, and he commands, and we can fight. So here it is very nicely. Again, we already discussed most of these points. The despondency of Arjuna, which led to the Sankhya Yoga, and how after in the second chapter, only after Arjuna prayed and guide me and command me, then only the Lord came to guide him. Till that time, he was very silent and listening to him. Thank you, Sairam.
So this is important. Like, we have only 5 minutes. We can't discuss this whole thing. We will continue next week. Like I requested all of you to remember the chapter 18, shloka 65 and 66. Similarly, the whole first chapter is called Arjuna Vishada Yoga, because he goes on trying to, through Purva Mimamsa, why he should not kill. Bloodshed is not good. It is better to go into the forest and do meditation. And why all these things? I would rather give up the kingdom. I don't care for kingdom. He's trying to justify many ways. He says, I'm not Kancham Vijay. Don't want to win the war. I don't want name and fame. I want to. So just it is a misconceived thing. Because when God is telling something, like this jihad people is an example, when God is telling, they have their own interpretation, because he is deluded, he has moha, he is trying the opposite thing he is telling. So once he goes on telling that God is that beautiful, he doesn't say anything. He goes, he goes on listening Krishna. The whole chapter, he doesn't even say one word Krishna. And then in the chapter 2, the Sankhya Yoga is, and Arjuna says, go to Sloka 7, chapter 2. Very important. He says, I cannot think about it. He says, Karpanya dosha, I am confused. He agreeing finally. First he tried to argue logic, this and that. Then he says he realized his mistake, because he's smart, he is pure. He's not an ordinary man, Arjuna, a hero. He could even fight with gods like Indra and all those people. But that time when you have this moha, even a strong man becomes weak and despondent. So that time when he was feeling like that, so that is the time Lord comes to give the important message, because he says, Carpenter, I'm confused. What does he say? Puchami tvam dharma samuda jesa. I don't know what is right and what is wrong. He prays like sincerely. And he says, Shishyaste aham shadimam tvam prapana. I am your disciple. Till then he thinks he's his brother-in-law. He's his brother-in-law. And he says, and also his friend. First time he says, I am Shishyaste. I am your disciple. You are my guru. That means whatever you say, shadimam, you just command me. He doesn't say you instruct me. Tvam prapanna. I am just surrendered to you completely. Till then, I said, because I am confused, I don't know what is right and what is wrong. So just I am your disciple now. Tell me what is the thing to do. So you command me, not tell, command me. Shadhimam, Shadhimam. And then I am surrendered to you. That is Shloka 7. And then Swami says real Bhagavad Gita starts, and 11th shloka in the second chapter, where Lord Krishna says this is another thing you should. Sochyananva sochastvam prajnavadamscha bhashase gatasuna gatasunschya nanu sochanti pandita. He gives the definition of pandita. Who is a pandita? Not the one who read Vedas, who read scriptures. The real Pandita is the one who doesn't grieve about the living people, about family, friends, or thing, or about the dead. Or somebody dies, loved one, he doesn't grieve either for the living or the people who are passed away. Gatasuna agatasuncha nanusochanti pandita. So then Lord Krishna starts giving the whole Upadesha, which comes on the next 16 chapters. So that is what we will discuss next week. This is very important discussion. So that is why people also say, hey, why God is telling? He says he shows in his cosmic form and he gives Vishwarupa Darshanam. What does he show? He says, already those people were killed. Bhishma, Drona, all those people he shows in his, even they were not even killed, they are still there in front. He shows they're already killed. You are beautifully, another like a mantra, Nimitta Matram Bhava Sabya Sachini. Oh Arjuna, you are just a happen to be a Nimitta Matra instrument. I already killed them. Bhishma, Drona, Sotam, all those people I already killed. Just I am giving a credit. So because he shows in his Vishwarupa Darshanam, they're already killed. Just they are not there in front of you, but so God has already done that. So this guy has a doership. So we want him to get rid of the doership because they're already killed already. Nimitta matram bhavasabhya sachin. You are just happen to be instrument. We are all that in life. Whatever happens, whatever we are doing, we are just instruments. We always need to remember we are the instruments, and he is the only one who is the doer, producer, and director. Okay, we'll continue next week. Sai Ram.